Welcome to the ChainOut Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
That's right, the ones and onlys, Daryl and Jeremy coming at you. Season 2, episode 66 of ChainOut Podcast. Hopefully everybody out there is doing well. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing fantastic, Jeremy.
Yeah. You know, you're looking good, by the way, buddy.
You noticed something?
I noticed something a little different about you.
I think we both look a little bit stylish tonight.
Yeah, we do. We've got a little, I think there's a Pokemon ball or something that's red and blue. So maybe we got some Pokemon vibes. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know where that came from either.
That's not in
but
the
look
script.
at us. We both got hats. We both got jerseys.
Yeah, and they've both got these pretty looking birds on them.
We're proud to say that we're, again, part of Team Cardinal. We finally got our jerseys.
Yeah, how long have we been waiting? We ordered
them back in December.
We ordered them right before the postal strike.
Yeah.
And
then we were too eager.
Yeah, and then we ordered them right before the threat of tariffs. Or no, that's when they started to move again, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were held at the border for quite a while. There was about a 3 or 4 week, or maybe even longer, 3 or 4 week of just sitting in customs. Then we finally got that one email or that one notification that said it's on its way.
Mm-hmm. And now we've got them, and I'm excited because we have a tournament coming up this weekend, and I'm excited to sport some of these threads at Tundra Toss number 4.
Tundra Toss 4, happening this weekend.
And I had been updating our outline a number of times. So Brock, the president, had put out there, hey, everyone, there's 10 spots left in the tournament. And then I updated the outline because I saw there was 5 spots left.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what it is at this exact moment that we're speaking, but there are only 2 spots left for the tournament before it sells out.
Yeah. I was going to put a post out to say that there was only 8 spots left when I seen 8 spots, but Brock kind of put an update for that. So then I've been watching it. I'm like, okay, now there's only 2 spots. Do I need to put out a post tomorrow morning to let people know that, hey, you got 2 chances left to get into this event?
Yeah.
I think what everybody been saying, people have been leaving it to wait and see what the weather was going to be like. Now they know that the weather this weekend, Jeremy, is going to be looking awesome.
Going to be great. And we talked about it on the last episode that Maverick was out there recently scraping every tee pad with an ice scraper and putting ice melt out there. So I think it's going to be perfect. We're going to have warm weather. The only thing that could happen is the tee pads could be wet from the snow melting.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to be plus 4 degrees, not too windy. And in MA40, there are 7 of us registered right now. So guess what that means? Top 10 finish for Jeremy.
First top 10 finish of the season. That's awesome.
Hey, how do you go wrong with that, right?
Yeah. I won't be playing because I'll be out there in my communications role with Edgar. Mm-hmm. I'll be taking photos and videos and hopefully documenting it a little bit more than they have done in the past. So stay tuned on the Edgar social media for an update on that.
Yeah. And if you just wanted to know what Edgar was all about and you live in Edmonton or in the surrounding area, come on out and hang out. There's going to be a setup in the clubhouse that we've got there where there's going to be Edgar members. We're going to be selling memberships, right?
Yeah. It's a welcome day for Edgar as well. So you'll be able to get your memberships, purchase your memberships for 2025. We're going to be having a disc swap as well.
I love the disc swap.
Yeah, I love a disc swap. There's going to be a 50-50 draw as well.
Oh, okay.
The raffle, we're not too sure about at the moment. We're getting donated discs from different people, and people are chipping in with prizes. It was originally going to be scrapped, but then people in the board and community said, no, we need to have it. So we're getting prizes donated, so stay tuned for that.
And speaking about prizes, Daryl,
we
had another giveaway from one of our guests. It's going back a few episodes now, but that was an awesome episode. We had Chris Hartman on out of Vancouver area, and he's the coach of the Trinity Western University College Disc Golf team, who did quite well just recently down. Did you see? I don't know if you saw the post, but the team went down to that Oregon
you mentioned
tournament.
it. Yeah.
And so the men got their Div 1 status, which they needed to get.
Right.
And then Verity and one of the other women went down, and it was more of just a fun round because nobody else was there to compete with them. So they invited any disc golfers to come out just to be part of the event.
Right.
And they had a good time doing that. So yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he was so gracious to give us some, because obviously Chris Hartman won at Nationals. He had his own national stamp, and he was so kind to say, okay, guys, I've got some discs to give away for you. So he donated 4 discs. And I did the draw. We put it out on our socials. We put it out on Instagram.
Well, not only 4 discs.
2 packs.
4 Innova discs.
4 Innova discs.
Yeah, and he broke them into 2 sets.
With his stamp on them.
And we got him to give us the most valuable part.
The piece de resistance.
His signature on there, too. So there is set number 1 is a star. Should I tell him what it is?
It'll come up on the screen when we do the giveaway, Jeremy.
All right, let's do the giveaway.
Yeah, let's see who won. So good luck to everybody who entered. Congratulations to Bubba 18.
Yes.
And consider your options, who is Todd. Congratulations to Todd.
And if you couldn't hear us when that was spinning, because we don't think you can, the first set there was a Star Halo TL3 and a Proto Glow Shrike. And the second set was a Color Glow KC Pro Rock and a Star Racer. Yeah.
Pretty good prizes.
They're awesome prizes. Thanks again to Chris Hartman. And we'll get the addresses of the winners. We'll reach out to you through Instagram. And after that, we'll have Chris ship them out. And maybe when you do get those discs, we always love it if you'd send us a picture so that everybody out there can know, yes, the giveaways actually do happen and the discs do get to the people that win them. So
yeah, absolutely. I'll be messaging you from the Instagram account. Don't reply to any other giveaways.
That's right.
Well, from ChainOut anyway.
Yeah. And if you want to get your hands on some cool threads like the ones we're wearing, or maybe you want Miguel Alvarado's cool new jersey, how about Gabby Lee's amazing jersey?
Fantastic Team Cardinal players.
That's right. As members of Team Cardinal, we have a discount code for you, and you can use that. You can use ChainOut when you check out, and you'll get 10% off. And on top of that, we've got even more discounts for the chain.
We've got loads of them. Yeah.
So we've also got a discount code from Goat Towel. And if you used COP15, so ChainOut Podcast, COP15, you'll get 15% off your order there.
Yeah.
But that's not all, Daryl. What else do we got?
Throwback to a previous episode. If you like board games, Jeremy did a Kickstarter for the new disc golf board game by Callum Mathers, Chains.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you want to get your copy of Chains, you can use the link that I'm putting in the chat right now for 25% off.
That's right. Discounts galore.
Yeah.
And we had heard.
Or use the code ChainOut.
ChainOut on the Chains disc golf board game page.
But that link will take you right there, and it'll include the discount right on that link.
Yeah. And we've been hearing tell that there might be one more discount coming our way, but we can't tell more about that yet.
Yeah, we can't quite release that yet.
That's right.
Stay tuned.
And also stay tuned. After the ChainOut podcast, you can jump over to our Patreon, sign up as a free member, and you'll get a link to join us for even more Canadian disc golf talk. And that's on our Around the Basket show.
Yeah.
And it happens right after the ChainOut podcast, a 15-minute break for us to refresh.
Yeah.
And then we go. We like to say it's around 8:30, but if you just say it's 15 minutes after this episode ends.
Exactly. 15 minutes after ChainOut podcast, Around the Basket episode will be airing. You'll be able to watch it live, if, like Jeremy said, if you go to our Patreon and sign up as a free member, you'll get the link. If you don't want to sign up as a free member, that's okay. We won't you won't hurt our feelings. We'd like you to, but if you don't, that's fine.
Maybe not yours.
But the Around the Basket episodes get released on the weekend, and you can watch them then as well. But if you want to participate and be a part of the chat and give us comments and give us feedback. Sign up for the link and you can be a part of the Around the Basket episode live.
And on tonight's episode, we have a friend, a Patreon member, and BR Disc Golf store owner, Brendan McKinstry, joining us. And I know you guys are wondering, did Jeremy have it in him to put together another Disc Golf Jeopardy? I certainly did. So we have another one coming up tonight, and I think it's going to probably beat up our guests. So if you want to see them struggle, I didn't do it too hard on purpose. I just don't want to overestimate the skill of our guests.
I feel like the more we do, the more you'll find that fine line of, okay, this is just difficult enough, but also they're easy to get. Because I think the first episode, the 500 was so easy and the 100 was so hard. Then you kind of dialed it in. Then we're fluctuating on the difficulty levels. I think we're just, it's like a sine wave. We're getting wider. Now we're just kind of narrowing it down and we'll find that sweet spot.
And for those who are watching, including Brendan, if you're watching in an attempt, is our guest that we have on tonight actually inspired some of the Disc Golf Jeopardy questions. So maybe that's a little clue that'll help you out. So be paying attention during this episode. It might help you later on.
There you go.
All right.
Speaking of our guest, Jeremy.
Well, tonight we will be interviewing one of Alberta's best FPO players. Last year, she was second in Alberta in points and held the third highest FPO rating. She is a two-time winner of the Spring Runoff and winner of the 2024 Edmonton Open. If you see her out on the course, her 2-year-old protege is likely not that far behind.
Yeah.
From Calgary, Alberta, join us in welcoming Amber Chiasson to the show.
Hey, Amber, how are you?
Good. How are you guys? Looking good.
Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you.
Yeah, our new threads, hey? Is that what the cool kids say?
I wouldn't know.
We got some drip on us. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard that. I don't know.
It could be. And in mine,
we're just embarrassing ourselves now, Jeremy.
We are, yeah. And I've even got buttons on mine, Amber. So I think for my office job, it'll fit for the office casual.
Oh yeah. You guys look very classy.
Well, and we're glad to have such a classy person like yourself joining us too, because we've had you on our list for quite a while on the guest list. And people, I don't know that they know that, Daryl, but the guest list is long. There's so many amazing Canadians, and then it's just trying to find that right time. And we're so glad that tonight was the one that worked out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Your name has come up quite a few times where people are saying, oh, you know who you should have on the show? Get Amber on. And we're like, yeah, we will. We've got her on the list. It's just like Jeremy said, it's just trying to get that point where we're open and we have that space.
Yeah.
Aw, that's really sweet.
Well, and we're seeing, Amber, you've got to have a smile on your face like we do, in the fact that Calgary's been stuck in a deep freeze just like Edmonton. The weather is about to warm starting tomorrow. Where are you heading out to play this weekend?
Yeah, I think first I'm going to hit up Forest Lawn, local to me, obviously my home course, and the tee pads might be shoveled. If not, I'll do it and see where the weekend takes me. I've got an event that I'm helping assist this weekend, or Puttapalooza. Nice. So I won't be playing that day, but at least I'll be putting.
Yeah.
Nice. For people that don't follow you on your Instagram today, I seen that you did some prep work to be on the podcast. You went out skiing with, and I don't want to offend anybody, but you went out skiing with Fat Dog.
Yes, I did. I took my Fat Dog for a ski, and it was cold, but we did it.
Yeah, nice.
Nice work. And you're right with the tee pads there, is because you are pretty active on Instagram, and we've saw that you set a good example and you try to bring that shovel. Did you got a new adjustable shovel? Is that what you were kind of showing this year? Was it to shovel the tee pads with?
Yeah, I first used this dollar store shovel that broke after like the third tee pad, and so that was short-lived. But Costco has a great foldable shovel for anyone who needs to shovel off tee pads.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, you know when we would have needed that, Daryl, was back in November, right?
Yeah. We made a big mistake of taking our carts with us.
Yes.
Yeah. We went down to we came down to Calgary for our live Cold Garden episode. And the day after, Jeremy and I headed out to Baker Park.
And it snowed that night.
It snowed that
morning.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was tough. And
polar skis, or
yeah, no,
you guys used polar skis before? No.
We didn't have any of those. But what we did was we wanted to be good disc golf Samaritan type people on the course. So we wanted to clear the pads off so we weren't just tromping down ice on
Because the night before the Glow League had happened.
Yes.
So we knew people had said to us, "Oh, it's okay. Go to Baker Park. It'll be nice and clear."
Yeah.
Apart from the snow that we had all overnight and just covered the tee pads again.
Yeah, but we ended up taking a snow brush and using that, and that was what we took turns. So by using the snow brush, dragging our carts with our tires twice the size of what they were, we were tired by the end. But you still had a good time, didn't you?
Yeah, it's my first course played in Calgary. I've never been to Calgary to play disc golf before, so.
Oh, nice. It's the highest rated course in Canada, oddly enough. It's definitely the most popular, most rounds recorded.
That's right, yeah.
So with that being said, Amber, what do you think the next time we head down to Calgary, what should be the next course Daryl should try, from your thoughts?
I'm a big fan of DRM, David Richardson Memorial. They have short tee pads, long tee pads, and it's a hike. But that to me is one of the nicest courses in Calgary.
And not that far from Stony Trail, the ring road that goes around Calgary, right? Pretty close to just jump off of there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. That's your next one on your list. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
All right, there you go.
I have it on good recommendation, so why wouldn't I play it? Yeah.
Well, Amber, this is the part of the show where we get to find out how you got into disc golf, but we can't get the answer without an origin story. So I've curated one. I was going to say just for you. I've kind of curated one, and our listeners need to get their thinking caps on because their goal is to try and guess what movie I've based your on. So they can put the guesses in the comments, and here it goes. And now you think about how you got into disc golf. That's your job at this moment. So ready? All right. Maybe you had an eccentric uncle who was into genetics. He was also obsessed with making the most interesting and amazing disc golf course out there. One where people would come from all over the world to visit. He invited you to bring your discs and check out the course. On the first tee box, you were amazed at the views and the design. You remembered your uncle saying something about stegos and raptors, and you thought he was suggesting discs you should bring for the course. But when you approached the fairway, you realized that he meant stegosauruses and velociraptors. Now running for your life, you threw disc after disc and fended off the dinosaurs, narrowly escaping, and maybe that's nowhere near how you got into disc golf. So why don't you tell us how it really happened?
Well, I definitely have some eccentric family, so.
There's always a link somewhere.
Yeah. So I met Kyle in 2017, and he was working 3 jobs, so I didn't see him very much, actually. So if I wanted to see more of him, I needed to tag along for a casual round of disc golf. And I thought it was the dorkiest thing I've ever seen, and I was like, these are the people you hang out with? This is really weird. But anyways, I tagged along for a league night, and that's when the people just love bombed me so hard. They were like, you're so great, you could throw so far. So I couldn't, but everyone was just being really nice and supportive. And so that's how I got to be a part of the cult. I wanted to be really good at this sport, and so the love bomb worked. It definitely did. Yeah, so not soon after that, I wanted to do leagues. I wanted to do tags, and I played a tournament after like my 10th round of disc golf, maybe.
Wow.
I didn't even know how to count my score yet, and I joined a tournament, and I finished last. But I was hooked. I wanted to get better at this. I didn't want to be last anymore, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, because we get a lot of stories about COVID being the thing that brought people in. So you were in even earlier in 2017.
Yeah.
And we talk about also is how do you get people in? And I'm wondering, is that one of the new ways to do it, is just love bomb them to say, you're the best, you belong here, you're a part of us. Even if we are dorky, we hope that you want to join us.
No, seriously. I mean, one of the goals for the Calgary Disc Golf Club or community is to get more women involved. So as soon as you see a woman on the course and they're doing something great, just absolutely encourage them to keep going and keep at it. And I've seen amazing women come through this community, and who knows, like, you might have more people join your community to help with garbage cleanups or run clinics or anything like that. So women get stuff done. So encourage
Yes.
women to keep going. And you'll just meet amazing people along the way.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
No, that's a great point. And like we had a lot of women in disc golf actually inspire us in the fact of talking to Carrie Neal and her giving us some good advice about, volunteer. If you want to support women's disc golf, well, volunteer and help and kind of put your money where your mouth is, is that the right saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. That was like we've said before, and that was a big turning point for us because we were always thinking it's a women's event. Let the females play. Let's not try and get involved in it. Let's not try and power our way in or anything like that. But Carrie was like, no, you should be volunteering. Like, get in there and get involved. And it was like, oh, we can get involved. So that was a big moment for us.
And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the point to that, Amber, was just that like we were at She's Up First and we saw so many amazing women in disc golf coming together, and the vibe of being just around it and part of it was probably more fun than I've had at any tournament, I think. And I think that, and amazing lunch, that one too. But and Kristen as the TD, she just puts together such a good event. So we want more women.
she's a great example of someone who just cares about the community, cares about the sport, and cares about women in the sport. So I definitely agree with all that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, we do want our play. One of the things that we did in the off season was we started to cover some more, like we did disc golf last week, where we were talking to manufacturers, we were talking to businesses and trying to do that. But as we get more back into the season, we want to talk to players like yourself, and we just love getting a chance to introduce the ChainOut community and the Canadian disc golf community to players. So let's start by letting players know a little bit about your season last year. And last year was a big season for you from what I saw, and the fact that you played 14 sanctioned events and hit some of the bigger tournaments in Alberta. So tell us, what were some of your personal highlights from that big year last year?
Yeah, last year was really weird. I started off pretty strong in the season, and I was super pumped about that. So yeah, for example, like winning Edmonton Open against a pretty large pool of women at a pretty tough course.
Yeah.
But beautiful. Calvin does a really good job with that course, and Andrew. That was a highlight. Started off women's league pretty strong too. I had a lot of fun there. I was able to join that again. Yeah. And I traveled to BC a couple times by myself, away from the family. So that was a little scary, but it was fun. I love playing with those BC girls. And I played in three events in MA2, so just to get that bigger pool. So that was quite competitive, and that was really awesome. I shot my highest rated round during one of those tournaments in the MA2 division, so I was pumped.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. You mentioned about coming up to Edmonton to play the Edmonton Open there. You played against 8 other FPOs and you managed to win that event. Now, whenever Jeremy and I have been around Bailey's, sorry. We struggle to get even going around in one round, and you managed to get +1 over 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you do that? How did you find that course?
Oh man, I was getting the really good kicks. When you play with those people and they hit a tree and they just bounce back into the fairway and it's so annoying. That was finally me, getting the good kicks. So I obviously felt bad for my competitors if they weren't getting the good ones. But at the same time, I was like, this is
it's
amazing.
All a balance.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've tapped into a new level of my game where I'm hitting gaps a lot better as well. And I trusted my forehands off the tee, so I've really been working on that forehand game. So I don't want to be at a disadvantage being a left-handed player, so really pushing for that forehand.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really good score, like I said, because there's so many holes on that course where in a blink of an eye you can be like +6. Like it's such a tight-wooded course. Yeah, so finishing +1, that was amazing.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
And, and Alex Penny's in the chat here right now as well, and one of the things he mentioned, and I want to bring that up for a minute because I was down at the Limber Open as well, and that was one of the events that you played in MA2, and if I remember right, on Elliston, which to me at first this was a pop-up course, Daryl, that Alex Penny had put together, and this thing was a beast. It was huge, and there were these side hills that you went up and down, and maybe you tell us, Amber, but there was a side hill hole where you did something pretty amazing when you were coming down. Is that correct?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, my choices were either if I could get a forehand down the obvious way. But yeah, I just looked at this and I was like, well, there was a group of trees on the left, and I was like, why can't I get over those trees? And I did, and I pushed it, and it worked, and I parked the hole, and it's totally blind. And yeah, I think Alex was even across the lake there, or the pond, and he was like, yeah, I saw that shot, and I was like, sweet, because I had no idea if I was going to hit that.
Nice.
Well, what was your thoughts overall too about that course? Do you think that's one that maybe could become permanent in the Calgary area?
That is a rumor, just because unfortunately we have been losing some courses, or we will be losing courses. That is the plans of the city. So, I mean, a little give and take there. If we could get Elliston, I think that'd be amazing. I
Right.
walk my dogs around there. It's like a partial off-leash dog park. So I do walk my dog there, but I don't see a reason why we can't play disc golf and have dogs.
Yeah.
It could work, but that would be amazing. And I know Alex put a lot of time and effort into designing that park. And yeah, he was out there by hand hauling out baskets for the tournament and a couple of practice rounds for people. So he put a lot of effort and work into that. So I don't know, I'd call it the Penny. That would be the Penny Park.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that'd
would
be awesome.
all right.
Yeah. Definitely needs to get some. Well, I mean, he already gets recognition. And it's well and truly deserved.
Yeah.
But to get a course named after you, I think all the effort that he put into putting it in the ground, yeah.
Could
He
we?
deserves it.
What do you think,
Start the
Amber? Could we
campaign?
call it the Penny Park, the nicest course in disc golf?
There you go. That would work.
To kind of go with his
Yes.
other moniker.
No, we always say that. They're just the nicest guy in Calgary, the nicest guys in disc golf. So yeah,
Yeah.
he deserved the park.
Oh, for sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and last year too, as well, you started your 2024 season with a second place finish at the spring runoff. You've won this tournament twice. How was your feelings about last year's event compared to, other times maybe you've been there?
Yeah, I mean, this time Jessie Prado joined us, and she's
Yeah.
just an amazing player. Like, personally, I've never seen a woman throw farther than her, so she just crushes.
Right. Yeah.
So that was really fun, really fun. But yeah, just my putt, just getting the putting yips, I get them too. And last year was pretty bad, and I've always gone back and forth with my putting. So that's something that is number one goal to work on this year, is just get rid of those yips.
Yes. Yeah. And I know that tournament, we got a chance to see it for the first time last year. And I guess too is the fact that you're from Calgary, you play in the winter and you challenge those elements. We had sleet, rain, wind, some sun. I think we had every weather you could get over those 3 days. So I think that's something that when you're used to playing in Calgary, you're in the Chinooks and everything that come through, it kind of helps for the spring runoff tournament.
Yeah, you always have to assume there's going to be wind, and a lot of it. So I really don't mind a windy round these days. It just makes you a better player, and then when it's not a windy day, you just feel amazing.
Yes. Well, and when it looks too is that Rebecca and Noah and the team that's organizing it have gotten the spring runoff raised to an A tier this year. So that's even better, I think, for someone like yourself who is in the FPO field and maybe points are more of a bigger deal than they are to, say, Daryl and I. That's going to give you that one step up to start stacking up points for the season.
Yeah, I heard the rumor that Aperture might have T-pads now.
Really?
I haven't seen it myself, but that is the rumor, so that would just be amazing if that's true.
Awesome. Yes, and I think too, I noticed as well is that some of the divisions also are maybe getting to change it up a bit. So some of the ones that might have played Sharon, Aperture, Sharon will go back to Aperture, Sharon, Aperture. I think there was a couple little tweaks I saw, maybe not for the pro divisions, but for some of the AM divisions. I did see that change. So if someone went last year and wants to get a little different experience, T-pads at Aperture would be amazing, especially because there was a few muddy spots last year, so that would make that so much easier. And then also Nicholas Sharon, it's another huge course. That's very maybe similar to Elliston in some of those long distance throws and that we experienced.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I mean Rebecca and Noah, like they are so accommodating for tournaments. For me personally, just bringing Avery along to tournaments, just so Kyle and I can both play and not get a sitter. She puts the FPO fresh in the morning, and Kyle gets to play in the afternoon, so that's quite accommodating. But
Yeah.
like as far as distances go, it's a long course, so I do try and. It's always been the debate of like women we can't throw as far, so it's the difference between us throwing a driver and probably a fairway as an approach and then your putt. It is more challenging, especially for depth perception.
Hmm.
Whereas most men can throw a driver, maybe a putter and mid-range approach for their putt, right? So it is totally a different course that way, where it's just challenging in a different way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think we can relate to that because we're not throwing what you're saying the men are throwing. That's for
No,
sure.
absolutely not.
We'll get there.
Yeah, eventually we'll get there. Yeah. And then another thing, maybe the piece de resistance or the big event last year in 2024 was you headed out to Canadian Nationals. And that was the biggest field, I think, of the year, probably, with
Yeah.
16 FPOs competing, including Sophia Donica, Colleen McInnes, Gabby Lee, Taylor Chosick. What were your thoughts on that event out in Clearwater?
Yeah, that was awesome. My second time going into BC for a tournament, and again by myself, and just the field was totally stacked. It was awesome to play with other, well, I say play with other ladies, but they made a card of me, Terry, and Kristen, and Zoe. And I was like, really? I play with these girls all year.
Yeah.
Like, give me a chance to play with someone else. But I don't know, maybe they thought we'd be more comfortable together. But no, it was really cool. I wish I could have played with them if I just played a little bit better. But no, it was awesome. I watched them for the last round after I finished mine. And yeah, it's really cool to see like true athletes in the sport, just to see what level you want to
Right.
strive for, right? Like these
Yeah.
women, they are tall, they are strong, they have crazy endurance, and just like what an advantage that is in the sport, right? Like it really, you're not just seeing your local girls who just got into it. Instead, you're seeing these college level athletes. And now, like standing next to them, I was like, man, I got to hit the gym so hard this winter if I even want to keep up at all. So, no, I've never, I guess I kind of saw it in Vegas when I went to Vegas, but just from like a more attainable level,
Right.
that level of disc golf, that was awesome to be a part of.
Yeah. And I think too, I had that lucky moment of playing and starting shortly after the FPO cards did. So I got to see all of you tee off every morning and then follow around for a bit. And that's what I had noticed as well. But it was the whole field. It was amazing. From top to bottom, there was just this great camaraderie and a great level of competition as well. But I do actually remember you saying that. You're like, you looked at the card and said, we drove all the way to Clearwater to play together. We could have just done this at home.
Yeah, that kind of chapped us a bit, but I mean, we were very comfortable together, so it was
Yeah.
kind of cool being there together to support each other. Like all the Alberta girls, we're always trying to make our mark in BC, so that was cool to just encourage each other and work.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Daryl.
I was just going to say, that's kind of your plans or what you had done in 2024. Now we're looking forward to 2025, but we're still kind of in that off-season period at the moment. But we can start to see the sunlight getting a bit longer in the evenings now. The temperature's getting a little bit warmer. Feels like off-season's coming to an end. But is there any, like you mentioned about you needed to do a bit more of a workout there. We noticed that you got a new gym as well. Is there things that you do in the off-season that you've been preparing for 2025?
Yeah, this off season, I think I'm taking it pretty seriously.
Right.
Just now that I've being 2 years postpartum, that was a huge adjustment. So this year, Avery's in daycare part time, so I can focus on myself and my strength and my health.
Yeah.
So that's been a benefit. So yeah, really like weightlifting hard and consistent. And cross country skiing for fun and endurance. So that's been really fun. I've always wanted a pair of cross country skis. So, I mean, I'm not on the rowing team or anything like that or in triathlons, but I got my skis. So I think I can somewhat
Yeah.
keep up. And just putting league. Putting league's been really fun, and they do a good job hosting it. So I think it keeps me sharp, and hopefully it pays off for the actual season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for mixing it up, not just doing weight training or putting, one event solely. Like if you could mix it up and do your cardio, do your cross country skiing, go play basketball or, anything to mix it up. You're still getting your fitness, you're still getting your workout. And it keeps your mind active. You don't dread going back to the basement to do your putting drills again, right? Because you've done it for the third time that week, sort of thing. So if you can get out, and especially if you can get outside, that's always a benefit.
Yeah, exactly. Like today, it was like the wind chill was still like almost minus 30, and skiing was no problem, right? Because you're moving your body, getting your fresh air. So that really makes a difference. Because I think last year, I definitely did not feel my endurance was very high. I had a hard time keeping up. And just like your hormones from having a kid, just, I don't know, I did not realize that it took that long to get back to normal status anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that is a change this year, that little back to normalcy. But yeah, definitely feeling like I need to catch up to these girls, right? I fell back for almost 2 years now. So I'm really working hard to really hit the season this year hard.
Yeah. Well, I would say by looking what you did last season, I think you're pretty much back. It's just a matter of continuing. And if you've been working out through the winter and putting in the time that we all want to do, like Daryl and I talked about our goals for 2025, and I had said, or my goals, I guess, and it was like to get back into fighting shape and lose some pounds off of me. But I think what happens is use the off season to build that strength, because as you go through the season, there's time to do it, but the sun's out and the patio's calling and league is calling and all of those things. So do it now while the weather's bad and you've got the time, because you can't catch up to it once the season starts. That's my opinion, but
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. Even at these tournaments, right? Like I want to see these people and have a beer together, right? And have a burger or whatever. I'm not that strict during the season, but maybe I should be. I don't know.
Yeah, and then you have Blake setting up with Cold Garden at almost every tournament down south. So,
Yeah.
when there's a cake face waiting for you after the
Love
round.
cake face. So good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, with your putting, another good point there, too, because when you think about it, you play an 18-hole round. You've got 18 drives. If it's Daryl and I, there's probably at least 36 putts compared to the 18 drives in a round, right? It's just the reality, or some type of approach. Have you unlocked anything in your putting game, or do you have any tips for us that maybe we can carry into 2025?
Everyone is so unique with their putting style. I had this weird, like, extra wrist movement thing going on that worked for me for a season. So Kyle eventually was like, "Kay, can I just tell you what you're doing wrong? And will you listen to me?" Because, like, that is the number one tip I tell guys who want to get their partners into disc golf. I'm like, don't tell them what to do. But I was kind of at a low point, and I was like, okay, just tell me, I'll listen. And just to simplify it, right? It's all just the spin. Just simplify your wrist. You don't need anything extra. So I think that is what I have unlocked for this new season coming forward. Just keep it simple.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it, Daryl. We can end the interview there. We've got the pro tip that all the listeners have been waiting for, because I'm telling you that's true with the wrist action.
Yeah.
That sometimes it's like people will tell you the whole shaking the hand or, get some spin off of it. And
Well, it's funny you say that, because I just watched a video today from Gannon Burr on his new YouTube channel. He talks about putting. And he said that a lot of people will tell you about the shaking the hands with the basket when you finish. But he said it's more about the line of the putt, because if you start in the center and then go out around to the left and then you end up shaking the basket, you're not going to be going in the basket, because it's going to be on a weird line. But if you start wherever you start your putt, you might start your putt in your center, your left hip, your right hip, or wherever, as long as it's in a straight line from that point to the basket, it's going to be on line.
all right.
So there you go. Now, putting tips is covered now.
Yeah. We got Amber and Gannon combined. There's nothing that's going to stop you at that point, right?
Exactly. Well, talking about the off season, obviously that's going to prepare you for 2025. Moving into next year, how does your 2025 tournament season look at the moment? Have you got things set in stone? Have you got your tournaments planned out?
I sure do. I have my list, and
Okay.
it's already looking like an overwhelming season, like tournaments and seeing family and relaxing and camping. But yeah, no, I'm mostly going to stay in Alberta this year.
Okay.
As beautiful as BC is, I mean, if we can pop over for a couple, maybe in the Kamloops area or Kootenay up and down, perhaps. But yeah, everything from like Spring Runoff, Big Bear, Limber Open. We host a River Dogs tournament. So it's really cool to see how many tournaments that Calgary is hosting, because that
Right.
really never was the case. You didn't really have as many options for tournaments in the city. So it'll be kind of nice to just stay local and hit up the events around here. Like Alex is putting on a lot of get rated days. So just
Right.
quick and easy, need a sitter for one day and just hit up and get rated.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly just local, support the local.
Yeah,
Right.
that's always a good plan.
Yeah. So hearing that, we have Daryl Banks in the chat, who is obviously running nationals out east. And he asked the question here, any chance you can make it out for Canadian Championship this September in Ontario? The FPO field is going to be solid. But I'm guessing that may not be on your radar.
Well, I don't know. After a cordial invitation
Well,
from
that's
the
true.
tournament director and Innova Canada rep himself.
No, that would be sweet. I mean, I wish they did nationals like the west side and the east side, but it is really cool to see both sides come together. But I don't know, like if a plane ticket to Ontario was like $200,
Yeah.
that would be ideal, and accommodations and everything. But I'd have to take my family with me that time, so I'd have to convince Kyle too. But no, nationals is a really cool experience. I'm really glad I did get to go in 2024. That was really sweet. And it's just a huge event, and it's just amazing to see everyone all across Canada come up and compete at the same event. And yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to see Colleen there. I've heard of her, and I've probably watched some coverage. I think Parked Pro did a tournament over there, I think the year before National. So it was really just cool to see everyone in person. And everyone was just so nice and so lovely. I wish I could go, honestly. It might work. The year's still young.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, know that ChainOut Podcast will be there. We have the ability to change our VRBO. So if we have to make room for Avery, Kyle, and Amber and get a whole another room in our VRBO, I'm sure we could figure that out.
Yeah. Get an extra suite added onto it. Yeah, we can do that.
That's right. Maybe can we find one with a hot tub too? And we got maybe a pool table?
We don't have a hot tub in ours?
Not yet.
Jeremy, you're fired.
Not just for you and me, but if we're going to have a group of Jasons
fair
there,
enough.
then
I don't know if you want to stay with the toddler. She is terrifying.
oh, yeah, we have been a little bit removed from that now. Hey, Daryl, it's with our kids for sure. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're also planning 2025 beyond the tournaments, do you have any personal goals that you set for yourself? Like either whether it's a rating goal or amount of tournaments played or just getting through the season healthy? Like what are your goals?
Yeah, I mean, as far as ratings go, I always like to tell myself that they don't matter. You're not your rating. But yeah, I mean, my rating, I almost got up to 900. I was so close and then just fell back for the later part of the year. But I'm quite confident I will get up to 900 this year. But aside from that, I have been elected to be a part of the Calgary Disc Golf Club. They're just going to be called Calgary Disc Golf now, as the Calgary Disc Golf Women's Director.
Nice.
So I will be volunteering my time with hosting events, running a couple I have in my back pocket, and yeah, just supporting the community that way. I have the time, and like you said, what's the quote? I was like, you can't complain if you're not going to do anything about it. So
Perfect.
I've been a part of this community in the city and have lots of ideas and opinions. So better be a part of it to make the change.
Well, that's fantastic. I know. And what I'd like to say is that's probably a great time before we continue talking about 2025 is why don't you take this moment and tell us maybe if you've got some of those things that you want to put out there to the listeners and that to know what's going on in Calgary and what's going to be available for women. If you've got some ideas, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I mean, it's always a challenge to get people to be a part of the community, stay in the community. Like casual rounds are great. That's amazing. We're getting casual players, but to get people who sign up to be a part of the club, got to get those membership numbers.
Yes.
I think people need to understand that those membership numbers lead to new courses. That is huge, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
the city, whether it's the city of Edmonton, the city of Calgary, they need to see these high club numbers to see how many people are on these courses, right? So sign up for your clubs and count your rounds on UDisc. Those are
Yeah.
stats that the city needs to see to support us, right? I mean, pickleball, they have taken a huge leap because people are signing up for those clubs, and there's pickleball places popping up everywhere, right? So same with disc golf, we need to show numbers. And so just a challenge of getting people to join and be a part of the community. So whether that's guys being like, oh, I wish I could get my girl to play. So I'm going to maybe think about some couples doubles. That could
Okay.
either be a make or break situation in a relationship.
Can you last the 18 holes?
Yes. Battle
Maybe
of love
that's-
there.
Yeah.
Could we almost say that could be a speed dating opportunity where are you single and you want to try a speed dating? You get to play one hole with another person. And at the end of that hole, you'll decide whether you could actually go on a date or not. I think. I don't know. Would that work?
That would be a great Valentine's Day idea.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like it.
No, well, that's awesome. You've got some great points there too, and we've talked about that with UDisc. Is they've done more and more to get that app friendly to record those rounds. Like my wife will play with me, and normally just comes out with a frisbee or two, a glitch maybe, doesn't count her score. But I could still put her on a card and put her on for an activity round and record that round. And it's that type of thing there that's really going to make a difference. I think another thing too that also makes a difference is in Calgary, you guys have found a way to get one of the counselors on the city of Calgary into disc golf. And I think if you could do that, that also probably helps as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, like if I was to be voted as president of the Calgary Disc Golf Club, I would have no idea where to go. So just having someone a part of that community is very beneficial because he gets it. He understands. He probably wants more courses, right? So, and that was just the really interesting thing about COVID, how that really affected our game, right? So I was playing before COVID. So a lot of the time I was the only person on the course. Whereas COVID hit and it was you were waiting on the tee for groups and groups and groups, which is awesome. But the city needs to kind of accommodate for those numbers. And the people are still playing. Like just because COVID is over doesn't mean that people stop playing necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about numbers. I have learned from being on the backside of this and learning. It's numbers.
Yeah. And that is the downside to our sport. It's the good side is that you don't pay. You can just show up to a course with 3 discs and you can play, and that's it. The downside is if you just show up and you play and you don't register those rounds, nobody knows that you were there. The city doesn't see that. So you're absolutely right. Getting those rounds recorded it just shows data.
Yeah. Well, I had a thought too with that, Amber, and I don't know if it's something, I think Calgary does this. You have different levels of membership in the club, because I think when you go to Baker in the summer and you're 6 deep waiting to tee off, not everybody in that set of people that's playing that day are club members. So sometimes to me, it's like if there's a $5 membership or something at that low entry level where they can get a sticker or something for it. So even if they never do anything else with the club, at least you got a number of another person who goes out and plays at whatever level they play at, but they are another disc golfer and you can use them in the count. And is that what you guys do, have that lower membership? Do you know?
I think they just changed it to a flat family rate, so it's just $25 and you can sign up your entire family. They have lowered the rate this year because we do want to encourage more people to sign up. And it's not even just to be a part of the club. I think people need to stop looking at it that way. Like, I'm not a part of the disc golf club. It's I am supporting Calgary Disc Golf. I am supporting more courses, course maintenance. And I think that's the way people need to look at it now.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, if we continue with your 2025 season, you are going to go back down to spring runoff this year. So anybody who's been sitting on the fence about going, Amber's going to be there, and Jesse Prado Smith is going to be there too. So are you excited for that showdown? And maybe to say, guess what? Spring runoff's Canadian. It's coming back up here for a champion.
Yeah, I think I said that to her, and she had another Montana lady, Natasha. She was there, so I was like, "Thanks for showing up, guys, and taking our money." But honestly, at the same time, we are ecstatic to have new players to play with. Like we just love bomb them because we're like, you're new, you're here. I mean,
Yeah.
like me, Terry, and Kristen and Zoe, we're just all sick of each other. Like I think there was
In a
year
good way.
we played. We've played every tournament all year together, and it's great because we've made such a great relationship with each other. But we're like, yeah, I know your game, I know what you're gonna do here, so
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
things
help
up
them
good.
pick their disc.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You're
Yeah,
like,
just
"Okay."
reach for your zone. Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny.
no, it's been great. Like again, like a part of the community, not even in the same city, just making these relationships, right? So I've known them for years now, so that's been really awesome. Even
Yeah.
when I played my last tournament of the year in 2022, which was at Falcons Flight,
Mhm.
and I was pregnant, and Terry was like, I was like, okay, Terry, like I'm done for the season and probably a little bit for the next year. And she's like, please don't quit disc golf. And I was like, don't let me quit disc golf. So that was a really sweet moment.
Oh,
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, going back to spring runoff, we also know that you're going to be hosting a clinic for women and juniors down there as well on the Friday of the tournament. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it'll be at 7:30, I believe is the time. So I think I'm going to gear it towards the conditions of the course. That is spring. It's going to be wind. So if I can help them in any way I can with my knowledge, I've been playing on that course for a while now. I've attended that tournament every year I can. So yeah, just if you want to just come say hi, see if I can help in any way. If not, if you have any questions, hopefully I can answer. But also just a great way to connect with other women
Yeah.
who are competitive. And I think that's great, is just to see other competitive women is really cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And speaking of the great relationships that you have with the other FPOs there, are you going to take this one on all by yourself, or do you think you might try to recruit a couple of them to give you a hand in that clinic?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think I've got this one. I've done a few clinics. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, if they want to show up and support me in the clinic, that's awesome. I'm never going to turn anyone away. So
Yeah. Well, and that is
That's
the
awesome.
first priority one, but can you let us know when the MA40 clinic will be happening? Because we would definitely attend that.
I think there's some things, Jeremy, that are beyond help.
Oh, is that what
I
it
think
is?
that might be us.
That's our game.
I mean, I always say if you look good, feel good. So you guys are already halfway there.
There you go.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. Now, we got another question for you for 2025. So we're going to take away some things for you. So if we took away and erased all the barriers, time off, cost, childcare, what tournament would be on the top of your list to go to this year?
Oh man,
I
so
know.
many. Like doing any pro tour events, I think would be just really awesome. I had really low expectations when I went last time, so I just tried to enjoy it. So yeah, literally any oh man, yeah, those are just so many. That was such an overwhelming question. I'm like any tournament
You're
on the
free.
pro
You have no
tour.
restrictions.
Okay, we'll do this. How about we say any tournament in Canada? Would that narrow it down for you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely nationals. That would be super beneficial. I've always wanted to do BC Open.
Yes.
Always seen that they've had a huge pool of women there. And just the BC connections that I've made, and those ladies, they're just so fantastic. And it would just be awesome to play with them again. And I did get to play Raptors just casually, and it was
Okay.
Right.
awesome. I had a really fun time. I think it's beautiful. And there was like blackberries growing on the course. And I
Wow.
was like, this is like thousands of dollars worth of blackberries I could feed my toddler, So I didn't even want to play. I just wanted to forage and pick berries.
Snacks as you go. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and
No,
BC Open's
yeah.
a a good one too, Amber, because this year it's gotten so big that they've separated the AMs from the pros only because there's that many people who want to attend and they want to give enough space for everybody who wants to enter.
Yeah, I mean, just to have that level of tournament where you are getting so many people is such an accomplishment. I really admire them for that. I hope something like that happens in Alberta. I think we're getting there. I just feel like we're just a little bit behind. But we have the right people, we have the passion, we just need resources. And yeah, if anything like that could happen in Alberta, I think that would just be truly amazing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Daryl and I, we mentioned it earlier, we're both dads, but our kids are grown up. Mine are like 16 and 19 now, and they pretty much take care of themselves. But you and Kyle are the proud parents of a 2-year-old girl. And for all the parents of young kids out there, do you have any tips on how you balance parenting and disc golf and making it all happen? Because as we said, you played so many events last year, you managed to make it happen. And I think Kyle played, I didn't look at the total number, but played almost all of them as well. So what's the secret?
Yeah, we've definitely had to make compromises and have our own tournaments that we go to. So that's where like I went to BC. He played some local tournaments by himself. I think he did like Big Bear and Lost Egg by himself. So yeah, just compromise. But I think this year we're gonna stick together. We're gonna make it work. So my advice, if this helps at all to anyone, is just have a village. Like they really do say it takes a village to raise a family, and that's absolutely right. Like Kyle's parents are so amazing with Avery, and they just love watching her. So that's always
awesome.
been very, very helpful. And I think we're going to take them along for one tournament, do some camping
Nice. Yeah.
while we get to play. But yeah, it's hard. Like we don't always get to go out and practice and play when we want, right? And even when I'm competing, my mind isn't always on the game. It's how's Avery doing, and I hope she's okay, and I hope whoever's taking care of her is okay. And yeah, like it's just hard to focus sometimes, and I think that really does hit both of us. And just some of those sleepless nights,
Yeah.
having to wake up with her, that really does catch up with you after a while. So we were pretty tired by the end of the year. But just so grateful to even be able to parent and compete. So I know we're getting the hang of it. We are getting the hang of it. We're working together that way. But yeah, I'm really curious to see. I know a lot of the FPO touring pros, they're having kids now. So I'm really interested to see how that affects their game at all.
Yeah.
Just from like a personal stance, I know Bailey from Sherwood Park, she had a kid first, and I remember after I had Avery, I went to play Edmonton Open. That was my first tournament since having Avery. And I think I was only 5 months postpartum, and Bailey's like, "Why are you here? Like, are you okay?" And I was like, No, I'm fine. I got this. I can do this. But yeah, after the second round, I was like, I am not fine. Like, this is hard. So it was great to have that support from her and understanding. So yeah, curious to see how the Pro Tour women do it.
Yeah. I think one of the things that you're doing right to allow yourself to practice and things like that is to encourage Avery to be out there with you, picking up the disc, putting them in the basket, things like that. Like you're teaching her from a young age. You can take her out on the course with you when she gets, a little bit older. So keeping your kids involved in the sport not only encourages them to get into it, but also it allows you to go and do it if they're going to tag along and, and they want to be there as well.
Yeah, we really hope she likes disc golf when she's older. There's always a chance that they just hate what you're doing, but it's like, man, this is what we're doing as a family vacation, so I hope you like it. But we're gonna try and keep it fun for her. Like no pressure, just have fun with it. It's just a sport. It's not your entire life. There's other things to life I've learned since having her. It's not just disc golf. So trying to keep it light and happy.
Yeah.
So, a really smart guest that we had on said that you just have to really love bomb the person, and that will.
Somebody smart said that.
Yeah.
That'll be me. That'll be me as the mom.
Yeah.
My precious angel, you're doing so well. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So Jeremy and I are always interested in people's bags. So we always like to know how they carry their discs and how they organize it and things like that. And we noticed that you have put a few posts out where it looks like you pretty much have a whole blue bag, and especially that you have a full lineup of Latitude 64 Royal discs. Is that what your bag is going to look like in 2025?
Yeah, I think my bag is set, and I also think
Yeah.
that's going to be an advantage this year. I'm not going to switch out anything. I'm not going to buy new discs unless they're backups. But
Wow.
yeah, I love that royal plastic, and I think just keeping it blue also limits me from buying other discs. I don't know why. I was just like blue and Latitude because I wanted to be like Kristen Tatar, or Kristen Lathnow, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it looks appealing to me. It looks nice, and I'm a big believer in looking good on the course, right? So I want
Yeah.
my bag to look good. I've only messed up those discs a few times, where you think you have the right disc and you totally don't. But yeah, that is totally my bag for 2025. It's set. I'm clicking with it. It's feeling good. So hopefully it all works for me.
Yeah.
Having so many great tips tonight, Jeremy. Love bomb people, how to work balance having a kid and playing disc golf. Also having the willpower not to buy any new discs.
You could use
when you
that
figure
tip.
that. Yeah, please let me know.
No, seriously, you guys mentioned the disc swap, and we just had one in Calgary, and it's really a cool idea. I've never done it before, so
Right.
we did like this huge trade, and we walked away with more discs than we got rid of because
Right.
people had like Latitude discs that they know I like in the right color, and I was like, well, I can't say no. It's like $2. Why not? So
Yeah.
anyway, really cool concept to have.
Yeah, that's another great thing about our sport. I mean, we do the Trash Panda disc swap as well, where, we all like to try these discs. We always like to go to a store and feel them. We're going to talk about disc golf stores later on. But having a disc in your hand and feeling it still doesn't really take the place of actually throwing it. But then when you have the disc and you throw it and you're like, yeah, it doesn't really do what I want it to do. So then you end up buying another one. And we always end up with a lot more discs than we're going to throw.
Yeah.
So having the ability to, trade them in with other people that they have discs that they don't want to throw just is a great way to, ease the pressure of buying discs and having the extras, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and as
Oh
we're
yeah, just sorry.
go ahead. No, it's
Well,
all
just
you.
having a community, like we have our own separate little club within Calgary where it's like, hey, like has anyone ever thrown this disc? And someone's like, yeah, like I have one you can try and I'll give it to you the next round. Like that's just really cool to me, how everyone's so supportive of other people's games too, right? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
want you to click with this disc, so I'll let you try it.
Yeah.
And like you said, the more rounds you play with people, I know who would like this disc. I know if it's a blue Latitude 64, I know who I'm going to be thinking of now.
Well, I'm already
Yeah.
thinking, do you have a spot in your bag where you could get kind of a baby blue Honor that I might have in my bag that's maybe a little too overstable for my throwing?
Oh, I definitely have one.
You have a spot for that? Okay.
Always can use backups though.
Nice. Well, with the your bag too, speaking of backups, when you set up your bag, this is always, we get a little deep into this, we'll try not to get too deep, but do you have duplicates in your bag, or is it kind of just one of every mold? What's your setup when it comes to how many molds you put in your bag?
I was told from someone that has caddied for me that I have too many fairways, but no, I don't. I only carry 2 backups in my bag. It's just my St. Pros. Like if I'm beating in a disc, I'll put one in of a duplicate, or maybe like a hole at Nicholas Sheeran that has water. I will bring a second one of that. So yeah, it kind of depends on the course. If I'm being in a disc. And but no, other than that, I try to keep it really light, especially if I'm carrying a backpack. I do
Right.
try to keep it light because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make my backpack so heavy and I'll be so strong, and that does not the case at all. So no, I try to keep it light now. I
Yeah.
do anyways.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm thinking that if you ended up down at Nicholas Sheeran, you're going to end up eventually on hole 13. And when you're on hole 13, you're going to have to pick the right disc and make sure you park that one really well, because you're going to end up on an island. Speaking of islands, Daryl.
He's so good at this.
Picture this. You've taken a relaxing cruise, however the ship goes down. You manage to swim to an island, and fortunately for you, there's an 18-hole disc golf course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you on the island?
So good, Jeremy.
Thank
There you go. It's our staple end of the podcast question. You've gone down on a ship. You swam to an island. You happen to take your bag with you, but it has to have your 3 favorite discs that you can't live without. Which 3 discs are those going to be?
I'm going to assume I'm in Hawaii, and I love it. I'm going to take my Savior. It's a new disc in my bag. I got rid of my harp, and I got rid of my verdict, so I thought I'd get one Savior, and that would free up some room in my bag.
Okay.
Saint Pro 8-speed. Love it. It is the perfect disc for me. So I'm going to bring my Saint Pro and a Strive.
Okay.
I've been loving my Strive. It clicks with me. So those are my 3 choices.
I'm not familiar with the Strive. What speed is the Strive?
I believe it's a 12-speed.
Ooh.
But you know what? Like, you can't even look at the numbers. The numbers are so inaccurate. It
true.
seems like it would be stable, but it's really not. So
Gotcha.
has a lot of latitude drivers.
Right. So, okay, so we got the Savior, the Saint Pro, and the Strive.
Yeah.
And then the follow-on question that we've added to this question now is, if you could transport any disc golf course that you've played, or maybe not even one that you've played, any one that you would want to play, but you'd have to transport this course to the island, so you're going to have to play this for the rest of the time until you get saved, which course would you take with you to the island?
Oh man, such a mind-blowing question. Is it De La Vega? I think
Right.
that would be one of the highest rated courses I would want to play constantly.
Have you played it before?
No, it's kind of on my bucket list for this year. If we
Okay.
were to do a little vacation, so hopefully
Yeah.
soon. But yeah, and you know what? At the end of the day, I would play Forest Lawn, and I know Joe would agree with me. I would play Forest Lawn for the rest of my life.
Forest Lawn, De La Vega.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I know
It's a
they're so similar. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the posts for that one shot from Forest Lawn, that aceable shot, and how many close calls it's been. But I think there's a shot like that at De La as well, but it's way down, where it's like anybody in a kilometer vicinity has to watch out because it's so far down. But no, that's awesome. That sounds like a great course, and of course, 3 great discs to play with as well.
Yes, I'm hoping so. Those are my money makers for the 2025 season. Just calling it.
Awesome.
There you go. We'll look out for those discs when we see you out there.
That's right. If we're walking around and just doing our own little quiet commentating, we'll be like, yeah, I think that's the St. Pro Daryl that's being pulled out right now. So
You're not going to know because they're all blue and royal plastic. So who knows?
We just judge you by where you are on the course.
yeah,
If you're teeing off, it's going to be the Strive.
exactly. Well, Amber, we've loved having you on tonight. And before we let you go, we wanted to give you a moment to shout out both any sponsors, or if there's anything that we didn't cover tonight that you wanted to bring some attention to, this is the time for it.
Yeah, 2025 sponsors. I'm going back with Salty Unicorn Apparel. So hopefully I get to come out with a jersey this year.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully. I really want to gear it towards women and Alberta, so trying to get creative there. And of course, Blue Bandit. That's my new sponsor this year, and they're just amazing. They are family-based out of Saskatchewan, and they do golf and disc golf, which is really cool because I'm getting into golf a little bit.
Okay.
And yeah, just really genuine, cool people, and I just love supporting anyone local because I understand how hard that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, really happy with my sponsors this year.
It's awesome. We should just mention, for Blue Bandit, if you use the code Amber10, I'm assuming you're going to get 10% off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, super supportive people.
And then I'll
Super
just throw it up on the screen as well. If you want to follow Amber on Instagram, amber.discgolf.13. 13.
I love that. It's like it just made it appear.
Right?
There. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
really cool. Thanks.
Our technical genius over here.
Sometimes I'm prepared.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic, Amber. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was great to have you on the show. The best thing about you being just down the road in Calgary is that we're going to cross paths with you. And this time when we get together in Calgary, we will give you a lot more time so we can play around together.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, honestly.
Great.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me, guys, and happy birthday, Jeremy. Thank you for spending your birthday with me. I feel so lucky.
Well, I'm going to give you this part about that, Amber. Jeremy Daryl is this duo right here. So we had to put a day into Facebook. So this is the Jeremy Daryl kind of birthday of Facebook is what that one is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I feel even luckier then.
There you go.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good one.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for your time. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Oh, Daryl, I am so excited that we're getting back to pro interviews and with a pro
Yeah.
like Amber. How awesome was that?
Yeah, no, exactly. That, it's one of those things that when we're doing the fantasy leagues, we're doing the regular season, we're talking to the pros all the time, we're talking to the TDs, MPO, FPO, but it was nice to take a break and get back into the disc golf manufacturers, the apparel sponsors, all of that sort of thing as well. But yeah, it's also quite nice to get back to speaking to the pros again, just to hear that mindset. Just it gets me wanting to. Well, I'd say it wants to get back in the gym again. We did say we're going to try and get into fighting shape.
Well,
I've been doing a little bit.
A little bit here too.
We have been doing a little bit. Yeah.
It's the camera. It adds about 10 pounds, they say.
And there's 3-4 cameras on us right now.
That's what it is. Oh. But you know what, too, is like you would think Amber's done probably 24 interviews with the way, just having a pro on like that. It's
Absolutely.
just she knew exactly. She had like great comments, great tips. Like I said, we could have ended the interview after 10 minutes and still had so much good information that we'd already gathered.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, what we want to tell you at this point, as always, is thank you so much for listening. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, what the heck are you doing? Get out there and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Throw comments down. Tag people. Tag us. Just try and get lots of activity for ChainOut, because the more activity you can get us, the more we will grow the channel. So if you can follow us at Instagram, ChainOut_podcast, and it's ChainOut Podcast everywhere else that you might follow us. And if you've done all that and you want to do more and you've told all your friends and everything else, check out our Patreon. There's different levels you can support us there, or you can go to our link tree and buy us a beer, and that's a one-time support, and we'd appreciate anything you can do. Or, of course, use one of the many codes that we have available for you to get a discount.
Absolutely.
I think I covered it all.
I think you did. Yeah. No,
You got any more buttons to push for
Nope,
that part?
I think we're good.
I got to talk at the right level that Daryl can hit the buttons for all the different things to put up on
It's
the
okay when you
screen.
put them in order, because I know which buttons to push. But when sometimes you mix it up a little bit, I have to think.
Yeah. And also a big shout out to all of our Patreon members who have already joined. Thank you. We appreciate you. We're going to be starting our Patreon Around the Basket episode in about 15 minutes. So head over there, join up and get the free link, and you can watch it live and you can participate in it. We're going to be talking to Brendan McKinstry. We're going to have a good time, talk about disc golf stores. Can they actually work in Canada, and what does that look like? And got lots of Team Cardinal on, that's for sure.
Yeah. Get somebody from Team Cardinal in the chat.
That's right. So Daryl, how are we going to end this one? Do you got any ideas?
Well, I've never thrown a Savior,
No.
so I wouldn't really know how it handles.
Gotcha.
But if I was to go out to Forest Lawn,
Mhm.
I mean,
Oh, you're going to go out to that hole? I don't know what hole it is.
I think
Maybe
it's-
if
I think
Joe's
it's
still in
hole
there,
8.
She could tell us. It might be hole 8.
yeah,
Standing on that circle tee pad, looking down the hill.
yeah. It's got a little bit of right to left wind.
Yes.
I'm guessing the Savior must be a little bit overstable.
I would
I think it's
so.
like a 0.2, 0.3. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I would take that
We're gonna,
disc.
in our lives it is.
Yeah,
We're going to pretend it is.
Exactly. We're going to throw it out there.
Yeah.
It's going to go nose down because it's going downhill, but I'm going to turn it over a little bit. Or sorry, I'm going to flip it up.
Yeah,
I'm going to expose the bottom a little bit. That right to left wind's going to come across. It's going to be heading right to the chains,
Yeah.
but unfortunately for me,
Oh.
it's going to hit left side.
And that Savior's only going to do one thing.
Well, for me it would.
It could only do one thing.
And what's that?
I think it might be
Chain out! Thanks, everybody.
See you in 15.